Do you feel like you're spinning your wheels trying to get out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle, but nothing seems to be working? Chances are you're making one of these four common budgeting mistakes that are keeping you stuck. Hi, I'm Amber, today's host for the Debt Free Dad podcast, where we help normal, everyday people like you take control of your finances so you can live a happier, less stressful life. Now, myself and my husband saved and paid off over $54,000 in just 20 months. And we have been living debt free outside of our mortgage since May of 2018. Now, let me take you back to a time when we first started budgeting. I was so determined that we were going to get out of debt in 12 months. So I slashed everything, everything. No more eating out, no more coffee runs, and forget the concerts or traveling. I was cutting it all out. I had it planned. I was paying this off and then this off and then this off, and this is how long it was going to take me, and we're going to do it. And all of a sudden we started saying no to all the things that started to come up in our life. And life started to feel pretty crummy. I was focused on saving and paying down debt that I forgot to let us live. And I say I because my husband was like, "Yeah, I'm on board. We're doing it." But we were getting pretty darn bored. And we were just setting ourselves up for failure because let's face it, a life without any joy isn't really sustainable. And it wasn't until we learned how to balance saving and paying off debt with enjoying life that we really got progress. And this is exactly what so many people are getting wrong. Like when they first start budgeting, like myself, we see it all the time when people come into Roots. They are so ready to just cut everything out, which is great. We need to cut things out, don't get me wrong. But cutting everything out isn't necessarily the way to go. So, number one, you may have guessed it, that number one budgeting mistake is cutting too much too soon. So, many people will cut out all the fun and the enjoyable activities when they start to budget. I did the same thing. The result is often burnout because life becomes too restrictive. The key to budgeting is to also budget your fun activities. So, whatever that looks like for you, it's going to look different for everybody. If getting a coffee or two once a week, you might cut it down so you're not getting it every day. But if stopping to get Starbucks once or twice a week is really important to you, add it into your budget. If going out with friends and family for a dinner once a month or some kind of activity once a month, add it into your budget if you have the cash to do that. And I'm going to give you some tips on ways to find that cash. But you want to be able to plan for it and pay cash for it. That's the key. Now, we cut out all the things. And then when we finally realized life was kind of crummy, we started adding some things in. So during those 20 months, I added an alcohol line because I felt like that was an entertainment, that was a luxury, and I cut it right out. And I was like, "Wait, like I do like to have a beer in the summertime outside on my deck?" So I added that in. We added a vacation. We took a vacation in those 20 months that we were paying off our debt. And we even went to a couple of concerts. Did it slow down our debt payoff? Absolutely. But was I okay with that when I finally realized that, "Oh my gosh, I'm probably gonna fail if I just keep everything cut out?" 100%. Now, the number 2 mistake is obsessing over the perfect tool or app. I am guilty. I love a really good spreadsheet. Now, many people will search for that perfect budgeting tool or app to solve all of their financial problems, right? There are so many out there. You could spend days, weeks going through all the different apps and, tools, right? Or creating a spreadsheet. Yes, I'm guilty. But creating a spreadsheet, you could take so much time creating this spreadsheet and then you do your budget or you have it on paper. And often what happens is we just toss it in a drawer, right? So the real success in budgeting is not found in a tool, an app, a spreadsheet. It's found by figuring out your behaviors, your habits, your choices, and getting that into a good financial mindset. Now, the other big thing when making sure that you're having a really good budget is consistency. You want to be looking at that budget daily. Don't just toss it in the drawer. Don't just close the app. Don't just close the spreadsheet and never look at it again once you've created this amazing budget. All right. And just know we call our first budgets in Roots the crappy budget. All right. Your first budget is often really crappy. Your second, third, fourth, it's probably going to be crappy. You're going to miss things. You're going to forget things. You're going to, maybe go over budget because you thought, oh, I can keep my groceries in under $600. And it's just not realistic. So know that you will have a few crappy budgets along the way. Don't give up. Okay. Now, the number three mistake is not knowing what to write on your budget. Budgeting without knowing your actual spending habits is a super common mistake. So, to create a realistic budget, you want to track your expenses for the last 3 to 6 months. So, in order to do that, go back into your bank statements, go back into your credit card statements, print out the last 6 months of those statements and go through every single transaction. Is it a little tedious? Yes, but it's going to help you know what to budget. Because if you don't know what to budget for, you're going to be spending this, that, and the other thing, and you're going to realize, oh my gosh, I didn't even put these on my budget. What the heck? And chances are it might make you feel like you're failing. You might give up, and we don't want you to do that. So go back in your last 3 to 6 months and really go through where you're spending. Now, when we did this, we found areas that we were able to cut out and really cut back on, like eating out. Oh my gosh, like the amount of stops we made because, we didn't have what we wanted at home. Um or we tossed out so much food too. That waste right there because we didn't prep properly was just like, oh, I don't feel like cooking. I'm just going to go out and eat. So not having those plans is what really we found in our budget, and it gave us a pay raise where we were like, holy cow, we could cut out so much of this. And now all of a sudden I have all this extra money because I thought I was living like super strict paycheck to paycheck. And realistically, I was just spending my money in frivolous ways. That's not necessarily the case for everybody, and I totally understand that. But when we were going through this, for us, that's what happened. And we ended up giving ourselves a pay raise, which helped us build our emergency fund with that money that we found in our budget by going through our last 3 to 6 months. So, some categories you might want to add into your budget, all right, would be like rent and mortgage, insurance, utilities, groceries, eating out. There's still enjoyable items on a budget. It's okay. A budget does not have to be bad. Gas for your vehicle, vehicle expenses, medical expenses, entertainment, debts, and other items that everybody's going to have a little bit different items. But in general, those are the categories you're kind of looking at. The number four mistake is prioritizing debt payoff over savings. So, a lot of people will focus on paying off all their debt without first building a savings, an emergency fund, right? And this is for when emergencies happen. So, I didn't say if an emergency happens, I said when they happen, right? Prioritize building an emergency savings before aggressively paying off your debt is going to avoid falling back into debt. Because what happens if you're just paying off debt, paying off debt, paying off debt, and then when something happens, like your car breaks down, oh my gosh, I don't have any money in savings to pay for this car breakdown. Now I'm going back and I'm going to use debt. I'm going to use a credit card. I'm going back into my old habits. So you want to build an emergency fund first. So we recommend $1,000 to $3,000 of an emergency fund, generally closer to the 3,000. So you really want to get aggressive and prioritize saving instead of prioritizing debt payoff. Because if you're doing that and you have no savings when an emergency happens, and it will, you're going to end up going back into old habits. You want to have that emergency fund. And when you have to use it, because you will, slow down on the debt again, prioritize rebuilding the emergency fund, then get aggressive with your debt. So remember, budgeting isn't about living a life deprived of all the fun things that you love. It's about creating a plan that allows you to live life with freedom, freedom from debt, from financial stress, and from paycheck to paycheck living. If you're ready to take your financial journey to the next level, we've got something special for you. Head to the link in the show notes, and in just 15 minutes, Brad will show you how to reduce financial stress, save money, and get out of debt in his quick 15-minute video. The best part is you'll likely start seeing results in as little as 30 to 60 days. Come on, check it out. Link in the show notes.